Well, imagine that you are learning a language with boring content, with content that you find completely irrelevant. So let's say, you're learning fruits, the names of fruits in your target language, being that you don't plan on going to a market in the near future and shopping for fruits in your target language. So you're learning all those fruits. And, I mean, it's fun, it's great to know the names of fruits in your target language, but they're not going to come up with in a regular conversation, will they? When you're chatting, you won't talk about grapes unless you're in the grape business, or you're not going to be if you're a grocer, perhaps, whatever. Like, you're not going to be bringing up apples and oranges in conversation. So I think that if you start learning a language focusing on content that you really like, content that really interests you, that makes a gigantic difference in motivation. You're going to be more excited to look at that content, to learn that content that you're actually a lot more interested in, instead of learning irrelevant stuff, things that you won't be using that often anyway. But one thing that I hear sometimes is when people say, well, I want to speak the language fluently, I want to master it, so eventually I'll have to learn the names of all the fruits, of all the colors, of whatever, eventually anyway. But I think that that's not the right way of thinking about it. Even if you do want to master the language, you should be still starting to learn with really relevant things so you can really develop a great basis, and then much later, worry about content that's a lot less relevant to you at this current moment. Are you going to be motivated learning stuff that you don't really want to learn? And unfortunately, a lot of the content in some language programs is pretty boring. It's pretty irrelevant to a lot of people. So, if you have the patience and you can go through it and you can actually, you feel like you can learn with that content, that's great. Go ahead. But would it not be a lot more exciting to just have content that you truly enjoy? So let's say you're really into working out and you're learning vocab about working out, about the gym, about weightlifting, whatever you're really interested in, and you can be even learning the basis of the language, the grammar, by reading content like that, by listening to it. And if that's interesting to you, you're going to be more motivated learning the language, and you're going to learn faster than you would if you were learning with boring content. Because if it's boring, you're not really motivated to go and get it and do it. That's what I think about the importance of content in language learning. If you have relevant content that you like learning with, it makes a big difference. So that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.